Another episode, another host, and another loss for Austin FC. We'll talk about it next.
What a
That was like actually great.
What a natural.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Final Whistle ATX. We are here as always at the amazing BD Riley's, and my name's Wyatt. This is Harley, and this is Matt. Nick could not be here today. As we are recording, he is telling you the weather, so he's got some important things to do. But you've got a warm seat. You've got a seat you got to keep warm, I should say. How do you feel sitting in Nick's seat?
You know, it's always been a dream of mine to be a host of a marginally successful soccer web show.
Oh, nice.
So this is really a dream come true for me. And, you know, obviously we miss our buddy Nick, but I'm going to do my best to keep the seat hot for him. And speaking of hot seats, guys, do we want to talk about Josh Wolff?
Oh, no. Oh, no. What a way to lead us in.
It seems like fans, people are talking, as we like to say.
People are talking.
This is kind of a difficult question to answer because I don't know if any of us really knew how good Austin FC was going to be in year one. I think probably if you had told me that halfway through the season we'd be right near the bottom of the table, I'd probably say, yeah, that makes sense. But maybe it's the manner in which Austin has got there, because we started pretty well, and really the last few weeks it feels like it's been getting worse and worse, really. I don't think the style of play has really changed that much. I don't think things have improved tactically. We're still struggling to create chances and things like that, which I feel like we were talking about weeks and weeks ago. And after a couple of games that we thought we might have a chance in, against Real Salt Lake and then against Vancouver, losing both those games, it's kind of a hard thing to swallow. So I don't know about you, Wyatt, but
yeah.
it's just a weird one right now.
I do have a lot to say about Josh Wolff. I feel like at some point we should cheers.
Final how do we forget? A new host throwing us all off here.
And you know what? I'm the one who usually cheers, so that's on me.
Well,
so cheers, guys.
Let's cheers.
Another
I was
episode.
gonna say, we don't have Nick for 1 week and we fall apart.
I
Maybe
know
that's
this
it.
is.
We're all out of sync.
I think that it's fair to criticize Josh Wolff because he has run similar formations the whole time. In the last month, maybe over a month, he's tried to work in a different system that's not just a 4-3-3, and I think we've seen mixed results from that, but I'm glad he's at least willing to do that. But we have struggled scoring, and you can say that's the players, but I think it's also fair to kind of say, hey, what's the manager doing if we're not able to finish these opportunities? So I think it is fair to criticize. I don't even want to say criticize, but it's fair to ask questions of Josh Wolff. But to the extent we do, I think we need to be realistic because this is his first-time head coach. It's an expansion team. And I think clearly we have a style of play that works because the opportunities are there. You notice every time we say we're missing the opportunities, but the opportunities are there to be missed.
Here are the problems that I have with the tactics, because we play this possession style of football, of soccer. Oh, that hasn't happened very often, has it? Oh, no.
Coin jar.
Anglicism.
Are we talking about the Cowboys? Is that why?
Well, hey, leave my other football team out of this, all right?
Let me try that again. We play this possession style of soccer. What I think are two problems with that. Firstly, the amount of times that we've seen the defenders and the goalkeeper, Brad Stuver, look under pressure at times, and instead of clearing the ball long, they go for the cute little short pass. And we've actually seen goals conceded that way. And I'm thinking especially about the second Houston Dynamo goal that fortunately didn't matter because Austin still won that game, but where Stuver gave it away. And clearly the message is coming down from the manager and from the coaching staff that they need to be playing the short passes pretty much all the time. The second thing is that you take away some of the success that we've had on the counter-attack. So I was at the Vancouver game last night with my in-laws, and it was their first ever soccer game, and it was a really cool experience. And my father-in-law, who's a very casual soccer fan, even he was noticing, saying like, they're so good when they counter at speed and they're moving the ball around so fast, and then as soon as somebody puts their foot on the ball and slows the pace of things, it feels like the chance is gone because they're not creating them through their normal style of play. So I question it when the possession style is not how we're creating the chances. And even the goal last night, which was our first goal in 3 games, comes directly from a corner. So
you're saying that playoffs and MLS Cup champions might not happen this year? Is that what I'm hearing?
I don't want to completely rule it out.
I do.
Oh, you're off the bandwagon.
Yeah, I said playoffs or bust a few episodes ago, and yeah, that's not happening. Sorry, guys.
When you lose a game like this to a team right next to us on the bottom of the rankings at home, I think it's hard to predict playoffs. If we can't win there, I don't know how we expect to win a lot of other games.
Bringing it back to what Harley said, a few minutes ago, we've got a strong start to the year, and I feel like last night was kind of a microcosm of that. It was a strong start to the match. Second half rolls around, they got a little sloppy, and then it just kind of all fell apart. So I guess getting into that, what did go wrong last night specifically after that strong start on that goal from Ring off the corner?
Well, first of all, I would like to take some of the responsibility for the strong start because, like I said, I was at the game last night, and guess who I saw on the concourse before the game?
Matthew McConaughey.
No. That would have been better. And now I feel like this is going to be disappointing. So thanks for that. You really put me in a tough spot. Only Claudio Reyna, the GM of Austin FC,
Wow.
is striding through in this Verde.
Friend of the show.
Yeah, friend of the show. Well, Claudio, are you watching right now? Is he a whistler? Maybe?
He's striding around the concourse in this like deep Verde blazer and kind of unnoticed by most people, which is fine. But I kind of clocked him walking towards me, and I did this really goofy thing where I kind of half leaned towards him and was like, "Good luck tonight, man," like this. And he was like, "Oh, thank you, thanks." So I had a fun little interaction
That's
with Reyna.
awesome.
So
Like he was playing.
Yeah, so maybe it was
funny.
my good luck, which gave us a good start last night. But yeah, going back to the game, it was a good start. It was nice to see a goal finally, and it was nice to feel Q2 Stadium feeling good again. It's been a while.
It seems like they only score when you're there.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Maybe
Maybe I
we
need to
should-
buy a season ticket. I don't know.
You hear that, Austin FC? We
Yeah.
gotta get our guy
Yeah,
Harley,
I mean,
Harley
yeah,
there
if
if
you
we
want-
want to
you
win
wanna
more games.
Hook some of us up. We're just saying, people are talking.
But for me, what happened last night is really, really easy to explain. What happened was that Vancouver subbed on this guy at halftime called Ryan Gold, and I was not watching the broadcast, so I don't know how much our good friend Adrian Healy talked about it in the second half, but to me it was so obvious that Ryan Gold was the best player on the pitch. And honestly, I think that's the best player that I've seen in MLS watching Austin FC this year.
It's high
It
praise.
was absolutely, so strikingly obvious that this guy was the best player on the field, head and shoulders above everyone else. He took the corner that they scored from to equalize, and then he set up the second goal with this, just perfect through ball that went past Brad Stuver and set up their striker for a tap-in. I think they call him the Scottish Messi. And and you could see why. He's a new signing for Vancouver. I don't know if it was his debut or not. I should have checked that pre-show. That's on me. It was either his first or second game for Vancouver, and he just looked really, really good. And in a way, it's frustrating because it's a little bit like, if he was available, would he have liked to come to Texas?
If you take it back even further to Real Salt Lake, we go down a man early on a really soft red. And it creates all this extra energy that we have because we were still down by 1 point. So I think we put so much effort and energy into that last game that we really look exhausted in that second half. There's no other way to say it. Our defense was sloppy. We didn't really create a ton of opportunities on offense. And it felt like we were just getting bodied the whole way through. And I know we want to talk about Cecilio at some point.
Oh, yeah.
I really think that's
Our
all
favorite.
it was. I don't think he's hurt. I don't think it was anything other than he just was exhausted. And I think Wolff just looked at him and said, he is hurting our team tonight. We need to put somebody else in who is not exhausted. And if you're going to go that route, I think Gallagher is the perfect person to put in to bring energy. But we just looked completely exhausted after that first half, and I can't fully explain it because I think Vancouver had a similar schedule as we had.
I was really surprised to see Cecilio come off just because I've watched a bunch of soccer over my lifetime, and you rarely see a player get subbed off before halftime for performance reasons. And I disagree with you, Wyatt. I don't think it was fitness related. I think it's because he was playing really, really badly.
I think he was playing bad because he was exhausted, though.
Maybe.
I don't disagree with that. He was playing bad. He had an opportunity to score, I think, in the 20th minute, and he just kicked it right to the keeper.
We're talking about Josh Wolff being on the hot seat. I actually think that early substitution of Cecilio Dominguez is one of my favorite things that he's done as Austin FC manager, because it's so rare that you take a player off that early in the game.
A star player.
To change things if they're not injured. And I really respect him for not only taking off a player, but one of the star players, the designated player, who's meant to be, scoring the goals.
It was right off a turnover that they pulled him out, I think.
Yeah, and it was a bad turnover. He gave the ball away 2 or 3 times before he came off. I just thought that was so interesting, and I think it sends a message not only to Dominguez but to the entire team that poor performance will not be tolerated.
How would that mentally affect a guy like that who the expectations have been on him this year and he hasn't always performed, but just getting benched like that, what effect could that have on him going forward?
That's a great question. I think that he's been under the microscope on this show and in other places because he is meant to be one of the stars. And I have
He's being paid like it.
Yeah, and I have less sympathy for him than I would have like some of the younger guys on the roster, because he is meant to be one of these leading lights, and he's meant to be a leader on and off the field. And I'm not saying he isn't that. Like, I don't know, maybe the other players love him and he's this great guy. I really don't know. But, when you have a player playing poorly, you have to be able to take them off no matter who they are. And I think whether that was Cecilio or Thomas Pochettino or Driussi or whoever it was, I think if they were having a bad night, they would have been hooked last night. And, it was from a corner, so you can say it was exactly related, but Austin took the lead soon after, and there was really good energy in the stadium. So
he's had a tough go, I think, at the beginning of the year because Husin got hurt so early, and it made him play out of position the whole year. And then as soon as you bring in Driussi gets hurt, Kolmanic gets hurt, and then there's so many games back-to-back. It feels like he hasn't really had a chance to find his footing at his position and see exactly how he can affect this team the best.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping throughout the second half of the season we can see that. What did you think about Driussi's performance?
Yeah.
Because this is only our second time seeing him, or I guess third time seeing him.
For me, there's two sides of the coin with Driussi. There's one side of it which was, I think he played well last night. I think he was one of Austin's best players. Really nice little touches.
He is so fast.
Yeah.
You can see it in spurts. He is so fast.
I think you can just tell already that he might be the best technical player on the team in terms of the little touches and the little quick passes and the half turns. We've really missed that. I think
he just gave him life out there. It seemed a little bit less lifeless on offense when he was out there last night.
I thought it kind of quietly because he didn't, have those big chances or score yet. But I think
because it seemed like he was setting everybody up. All the chances we had, he set up. Pochettino several times was set up by him.
Quietly, I think it was a good performance from Driussi, and it made me feel good about it. On the other hand, I don't want to go back to the Scottish Messi, but when you have another new signing in this game, Ryan Gold, who's pulling the strings and dominating the game, I think it's, it doesn't reflect amazingly on Driussi, and it's not his fault, but, he wasn't the best player on the field last night, put it that way.
I think we've seen so far, this can go two different ways. A, it takes this person a long time to acclimate to the MLS and to our playing style and to living in Austin. Or B, he comes in and is efficient right away. And at least I think we've seen so far, he's going to come in and be efficient right away. So if he can unlock Cecilio at his natural position, and he can let Pochettino play up a little higher, which, by the way, I haven't even mentioned, Alex Ring was incredible last night, I thought.
Yeah.
He was, as always, the heart and soul of our team. And not just well, the goal came from a defensive play that he made just before it. So the whole game, he was all over the place.
Yeah.
He almost looks like a center back if you don't know his actual
Alex Ring
position.
is 7 out of 10 every week, and that's why he's the captain. You just know what you're going to get, and it's always pretty good.
We've got Portland coming up on Saturday, and I think this is a really important game because the last time we saw Portland, we had a lot of goals scored. And Portland is notorious this year for giving up goals. So I think it's realistic for us to expect to actually score in this game.
Are you going to be at that match also?
No.
No? We'll see what happens.
I take everything I just said back. I don't think we're gonna
Sorry, guys.
So what is your expectation for Saturday against Portland? I think it's a winnable game, but we've said that so many times at this point.
I'm glad you said that because I was about to say the same thing. I feel like I don't think I've felt more deflated than after this week because on paper there shouldn't be an easier game all season than Vancouver at home. And no disrespect to Vancouver, but when you're at the bottom of the conference and so are they, and they come into your house and beat you, and they've only won 3 games this season going into last night against Austin, that's pretty hard to take. I think until things get better, we can't say that I expect this team to win or I expect this team to put in even like a very good performance. And it's really rough because the fans deserve so much better. We beat Portland 4-1 last time. It was the best night of the season so far. If we get even half of that, then, I think there's a very good chance that, we win the game. And, hey, half of that, I guess, is 2 goals, and that might be enough. So
you can watch that match against Portland Saturday night at 8 p.m. on the CW Austin.
Yeah.
And before we go, I just want to say, guys, thanks so much for having me. It's
absolutely.
It's nice to not be behind the camera for once. So, we'll see. Will Nick be back next week? Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. Who knows? Tune in next time. And Harley, do you want to plug our social for us?
Yeah, let's do it. So you can find us usually on Facebook, on KXAN News. You can find us on KXAN.com and on the app under the Austin FC tab. You find us on Twitter. Wyatt's really good at posting our socials below, and you don't want to miss Matt's fire Austin FC tweets. And I think that's everything, right, guys?
I guess
that's
we will.
There's a show.
With that being said,
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.